I normal summon a new card you haven't seen before, Evo Tile Force. This new card allows me during my main phase to set one Evo Force or Evo Instant directly from my deck. The way this effect works allows me to bypass one of the best cards in Ash Blossom. I'll choose to set Evo Force. Since it's a normal spell, I can activate it the turn it's set. Evo Force allows me to tribute one Evoltal monster to special summon one Evolsor monster from your deck. Ah, yes. Bloss.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Kitsune TCG here, back with another video, and I thought today we'd kind of be looking at a updated list for dinos. Now, this is going to be post-DUNE, which is a core set that we should be getting sometime this summer. We don't have exactly a good release date on that yet, but this is definitely a big year in terms of dinosaur support. We are getting the new archetype in the upcoming deck build pack, plus a lot of new Evol support in like I said, the upcoming DUNE pack. Now, not too many cards out of there are necessary, but the rank 6 is definitely essentially kind of just becomes a Transcendric card. I mean, you have a very easy way to make a rank 6 in the deck, and just kind of being able to get a double negation is going to, take this deck to a much higher ceiling. Now, it is a card in a similar vein to Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. The difference is it doesn't have the exact ability to like insulate you against things like Dark Ruler, so it's not quite to the same level, but it is definitely a very strong card that you're going to see in a lot of different decks this coming year, just because it is a generic rank 6, unlike its previous Evolzor monsters, which all require dinos. So that is definitely going to, make it a more generic card, especially since all of the Bestials are level 6. But overall, this is kind of the list I've been playing around with. Obviously, once we know a little bit more about what the meta looks like, some of the hand traps and ratios and things like that can change. But overall, right now, you're still running the 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Still one of the better cards in the deck. I mean, it's definitely one of the best boss monsters in Yugioh, so you definitely want to be able to have access to it, and sometimes you draw into it and, just makes going for game a lot easier. We are now running 2 of the Xeno Meteorus. This paired with the new Ground Xeno is a really nice combo, just being able to, activate this, maybe destroy a baby, add this, immediately trigger its effect. You're essentially always going to have access to this too, with the way that dinos go about destruction. So you're usually guaranteed the ability to go into like a rank 6. We do need to play the 1 Frostosaurus Vanilla. That just pairs with this guy here, so we can go into the new Evolzor. We are running 3 Oviraptor, 1 Giant Rex. Maybe they give us back more Misc, but I do doubt it, so at the time, still just the 1 Misc. And you are running the 1 Megala Smasher. This just gives you another option. Now, Xeno can, summon from hand as well, so even drawing it is not a brick. You can still use it that way, but maybe sometimes going into a rank 4 is a better option, or if you've already exhausted, your rank 6, you just have like an additional option, so definitely running a level 4 is also pretty important. Same baby count, you're still running 3 baby Ceratosaurus, 1 Petite. These are still kind of the optimal baby ratios. I don't think that's going to change necessarily. Still the 2 Archosaur, just in case you happen to draw into one. 2 Scrap Raptor, because you are going to make some of your scrap plays. The 1 Scrap Chimera. Now, I have seen seen a few people that have been testing things out, cutting Lost World, and it is definitely an option. But in the instance where, very unlikely now with how consistent dinos are, that you brick, being able to add, or if you already have like Scrap Raptor. Just if you have a bad hand, Lost World can definitely fix it in a lot of areas. It gives you a dino on board to target with Oviraptor. It also gives you a something to pop with Wyvern if you're having to go scrap Raptor plays. It really just depends. I think overall it adds a lot more to the deck than it takes away, so I definitely think it's not worth cutting as of yet, but that could obviously change as we kind of just get more into this deck's playability. Again, the 3 ground Xeno, I mean, acting as like an additional Rhoda plus a fusion spell in the grave, it's easily going to be and easily is one of the best cards I think ever created for dinos. So yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you're maxing out there. Not only does it grab you your Xeno, it can also grab you Scrap Raptor, so just definitely a lot of versatility in this card. Of course, you're still going to max out on Fossil Dig until you can't. So yeah, definitely want to make sure that you have 3 there. Still the 2 double evolution pill. Again, just, you never want to draw it and it ruin your plays, so you definitely always need to make sure that you're running 2. Because of how consistent the deck is overall, you really only need 2 Pot of Prosperity right now. Honestly, with how consistent the deck is, you could maybe even cut these entirely from some additional things, but for now, I think that, it still is worth keeping in the deck. Just the 1 Called by the Grave. Again, this could possibly be any number of other things, but because we are in kind of a heavy hand trap format, and they're definitely kind of coming back into play, and I suspect that will probably be continuing to be the case into the summer. 1 Called by should be pretty good in the deck, and then just kind of finishing it out with 3 Ash and 3 Imperm, and these have just continued to be kind of the 2 best hand traps going in and out of every format, so pretty consistent that these would be something that you would want to include in your deck. Alright, yeah, and hopping on over to the extra deck, you are including 1 of the new fusions. Now, you just need the 1. It does have a pretty relevant effect in the ability to kind of pop, and you do have the ability to kind of shuffle back some of your normal monsters, so it just kind of gives you that kind of recursion. So you do have a few different kind of uses for the deck, the card overall, so definitely worth including 1. The extra deck is rather tight, but you do have the space for the 1. From there, we've got a Borreload Savage Dragon. Now this is nice because Xeno does, if you use its effect, lock you out of a few types, but you still can make dragons, dinosaurs, sea monsters, and worms. So the ability to go into a Borreload Savage still is quite nice. You are running the 1 Baron. This is something that you can get locked out of depending on the hands. Usually you're able to make it before that happens, but in the instance you don't, I mean, there are several other kind of negates that you're able to end on, so that's usually not too big of an issue. Dugarez is here obviously just for going for game. Its other effects are relevant, but not as much. Really, you're just kind of using this sometimes to, maybe pair with like a Pentastag and just, push over for game against your opponent. Abyss Dweller was kind of just a random flex option until we get like a better rank 4, which, I mean, obviously Abyss Dweller is one of the better rank 4s in the game. In a lot of formats, whether or not it will be good in the upcoming format kind of remains to be seen, but so far it does kind of have it in here because it is a Sea Serpent, so you'd still be able to summon after the fact with Xeno, and there are a lot of times where you do end on 2 level 4s, usually like Scrap Chimera and something else, so having something to kind of go into it, is pretty helpful, and like I said, it does hit a lot of decks, but, until we have maybe a little bit better of an option that fits in the format, then kind of just going over with the generic, like, best option. 1 Lagia, 1 Dolka, and 1 Raz. Now these just are all going to have, different options. Maybe you need to hit like a normal summon, maybe your deck's really just normal summon reliant, they're not going to be able to go anywhere, so you can definitely end on a Lagia. If your opponent is going to have a lot of monster effects, ending on a Dolka could definitely be a pretty good option. And then, the Raz, since this is a rank 6, you are going to be pretty often able to make it with Xeno plus Frostosaurus, so just having a 2 Omni Negate is pretty strong. You do play the 1 rank 6 Transcendrake. This is well here, just to kind of push for game. There are a lot of instances where this effect of like this monster can come up. It's a 3000 attack monster, so definitely just something to have. Maybe could be something that you swap for something else, but in the test hands I've done and like games, I have certainly, liked its inclusion. The one link Karibo, this is obviously here for Archosaur. You just need something to get a non-Dino engrave for the evolution pill. The one Pentastag, yeah, this is really just for, pushing through defense position monsters and being able to attack for game. One Cross Sheep, since, we are running, some Synchros, some Exceeds, some Fusions, its effects can definitely come up, so, just kind of worth including at the moment. Scrap Wyvern for your scrap plays, and then you do have 2 Link 4s, access code. Again, just kind of another option for you if you need to go for push for game. If you don't have maybe necessarily access to Dugaras through level 4s, you can definitely make this. And Appaloosa. This one's actually probably the easiest one to end on for your board, just because this is typically the first thing that you go for before you kind of begin making your Exceed plays or, summoning UCT, so you're usually not locked in by Xeno at that point, so Appaloosa is usually a pretty consistent in-board. But yeah, overall, let me know down below if y'all are excited for the new Dino cards. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm really be excited to kind of play the deck all throughout the summer once all this, new support releases. But yeah, just definitely let me know what y'all think of all the new cards. I know we're getting a lot of new OCG reveals this past week, and I will see y'all next time.